The world in which we live copes with various laws. Ones we know for certain, others know. The third ones aren't pleasant to us, and one of these laws states following: person becomes the person only living among other people. And wishing to become I, starting with a capital letter, by all means has to live among we with a capital letter. And that we call it a society, people, or a nation. The people and the nations influence one another. They compete, sometimes painfully compete. The people are born and die. History of the world is laid simply out by names of the disappeared nations. For a nation to be remained, it is necessary to stick to certain rules. To work in concert in order to preserve the nation, it is necessary to understand unanimously some things. As we have said, as the movement our ranks tells, it is necessary to be in the concrete field of concepts. And here we will offer you several rules, which in our opinion will have to remain Lithuanian nation or any other. Alas, today the future of the Lithuanian nation is quite foggy, as we are threatened by problems of immigration, change of values which undermines the institute of a family, ration of fathers and children, all this adverse to the preservation of the nation. Therefore we say, to remain today, to be tomorrow. Today, the Lithuanian nation disperses. We become lesser. And to decrease number of the people living in Lithuania isn't such a difficult thing to do. The phenomena of immigration and immigration perfectly would help with it. But it would be absolutely different society which would be living in Lithuania. Today in Lithuania there are 84% of Lithuanians, 6% of Poles, 6% of Russians, and several percent of people of other nationalities. All of us here, more or less, despite all contradictions, have got used to each other. And if ratio 80-20, we don't keep it that way, then we will receive such problems which cannot be solved. If we change that ratio between the people living in Lithuania now, then it will be bad for both Lithuanians and Poles and Russians, all the others who live in Lithuania currently. The nation without the territory, it is like a family without a house. There are nations which do not even have their own territory. But each nation somehow lives. However, not every nation living on this earth has statehood. The Lithuanian nation was lucky. Today we have both the territory and statehood. Therefore we say, the state on the earth, the territory is the house of the nation. Also, it isn't necessary to think that it is given for ages. For example, Klaipėda, Kaunas and Vilnius operated by one state only several decades, and for the first time in the history. It isn't given for ages. A lot of wisdom is required to keep what we have today. When the nation has the state, there is a question of independence of the state. Not all states are independent. There are only several completely independent states in the world. But the aspiration to reach the maximum independence is possible, always perhaps. And we say, whose laws is the owner. And one of the main signs of independence of the state is the right to issue the laws and rule of these laws over the other laws. A couple of decades ago, we lived in a situation when supremacy of laws went not from the Lithuanian society. Then there was a period when we adopted laws for ourselves. It lasted only a few years. Then we have joined the other union. And now, supremacy of laws goes from the center of other union. So, therefore, we say, if we want that supremacy of laws went from our society, that our laws stood above here in Lithuania, then it is necessary to stick to the principle, neither to the east nor to the west, but here, now and forever. Many of you will think that it is impossible, but as for an example, take Austria in Europe. If you tell that Austria is in a special situation in the middle of Europe, surrounded by civilized countries, then let's remember an example of Finland. So there are examples of the facts that it is possible to live, being focused on the east and on the west, on the north and the south, and keeping a priority of own laws. All of us want unity very much. We want unity in our actions. But such unity is possible only if we act within one field of concepts. Whether you are inhabitant of the same field of concepts, you can understand by having answered several questions. One of them sounds as follows: Lithuania for citizens of Lithuania, or for all comers to live in it. All people living in Lithuania have one or some others religious beliefs. Someone has no religious beliefs. And to work commonly in a variety, in space of religions, we offer such question: are you first of all Lithuanian or a believer? If your answer is that you are Lithuanian first of all, then you can argue on the most different religious provisions, with all due respect to each other till the end of time, without leaving this field of belonging to Lithuania. If you are Lithuanian first of all, after that be whom you want. Also, each resident of Lithuania has some or others political views, even though without suspecting it. But after having conversation with such person, it will become clear that this person has some political views, and therefore again the same. We can also argue indefinitely about the views, and in order it didn't become the field of disrespect towards each other, people of our rank say, you have to answer yourself a question: Lithuanian first of all, or a member of any party? And if your answer is that you are Lithuanian first of all, then, as I said, you can argue with others till the end of time. Today it is also possible to hear such thing: if we will be Europeans, we will be people of the world. No matter how these statements sound, we will return a little to the beginning. The person is always first of all the member of certain public group. He's always part of this or that we community. And the other question sounds following. If you want to understand that you are the person of the field of our concepts, our ranks, are you Lithuanian first of all, or first of all European? In Lithuania, not only Lithuanians live, but people of other nationalities as well. The question arises, can people of other nationalities be inhabitants of the field of our concepts, people of our ranks? They can understand it by having answered a question to themselves. You are the person of other nationality in Lithuania, or the foreigner in Lithuania. It is a very essential difference. If you are a foreigner, but have temporarily got to Lithuania, or connect yourself with any other nation, other place, then undoubtedly you are somewhere in the other place. You are an accidental guest on our land. And if for you Lithuania is the most important place on earth, if you live here, your children live. If you recognize that Lithuania is the only land in the world for Lithuanians, and foreigners often have big territories, and for us it is the only territory in the world in which we can be owners. If you are the person of other nationality of Lithuania, undoubtedly you are the person of our ranks. Each nation is made by men and women. The children only born from the relations of men and women guarantee the future and vitality of the nation. Other trends serve as models nowadays in the world. But people of our ranks say, from two, man and woman, the third is born. Because if it is differently, then any future will become impossible. Only such relations guarantee preservation of life on earth in general. Each society or the relation between the man and the woman exerts a decisive impact on the health of society in general. But not less significant are the relations between parents and children, and today they are influenced by the strange trends. Children are the only opportunity for the nation to project itself into eternity. And people of our ranks speak. Children are the continuation of the nation in eternity, not only with their rights, but also duties. Daily, hourly, we communicate with each other, and clearly a means of communication is the language. Therefore we say, language is the main component of consciousness of the nation, and therefore language should be cherished, respected in every possible way, and sometimes a fight should be done for its rights. In order for the nation to be able to solve any problems, it has to have economy. And obviously, it is desirable that this economy would be strong and provided the nation with the various benefits as much as possible. Also, there are different opinions in the world, but people of our ranks, inhabitants of the field of our concepts, say that the vital economic branches have to belong to the state. And such things can be found in the world. Today, it is believed that only the private property has to dominate. But it's far from like that in the world. And again, Scandinavia gives us an example of different managing. There's a considerable part of economy in hands of the state. so we aren't special or original in it. The person doesn't become a person not living among other people. In other words, wishing to become I with capital letter, it is necessary to live among we with capital letter. And probably it is clear that I is only part of we. That part cannot be more important than the whole. Therefore we say, we is more important than I. Undoubtedly, there has to be a balance. We shouldn't cover I, but the part cannot be more important than the whole. The listed rules or questions which you can answer and understand whether you are an inhabitant of the field of our concepts, whether you are human of our ranks, doesn't mean at all that we want to tell that the Lithuanian nation is better than other nations. But we want to tell that it isn't worse than others. Simply an opportunity to follow these rules allows us to hope for preservation of the Lithuanian nation and to hope that in 100 years Lithuanian language will be spoken here and that we'll be the owners on our land. Everything that you have heard until now clearly doesn't give you the answer to a bunch of different questions regarding morals and ethics, doesn't answer questions of the good and evil, doesn't bring up a question of the relations of the person with life, but those rules which have been listed allow to investigate these questions after many years. The good and evil, life, morals, ethics, in Lithuanian language, on Lithuanian land. Often wishing to find the best solutions for the nation, we create the most different plans, and they often happen to be either utopian, either so difficult to realize that their embodiment in life can be expected only in a very far future. But those 15 points listed in this conversation can be realized here and now. Questions that have been raised here today, here and now, you can answer yourself. Therefore, everything that has been mentioned can be realized. Only our desire and our will are necessary, because all this is achievable today, here and now. Let our ranks to be multiplied.